wait for you outside.
Okay. I'm early, Jerry.
I'm not used to that.
Welcome, Your Honor.
Welcome. Thanks for having us. Down here today basically for two reasons. The first reason is there's a National Drug Court Seminar in Washington, D.C. this summer. I've been to, I think, 2 or 3 of them, and they're a seminar that's actually some seminars you go sit in and you get bored. This is not that type of seminar. It's actually a very informative seminar. You get to meet with people from out the country running drug courts. You learn a lot. I mean, it's one of the seminars that you learn what different areas of the country, how they're dealing with their drug problems, what has worked for them, what's not worked for them. By the same token, we share what works for us, what don't work for us. Unfortunately, our Supreme Court has been pretty generous in the past as far as how we send people there. They have cut the number of people that they will pay for actually to 1. They won't send me. We've tried to be creative to find some other ways for people to go. Our Day Report Center is helping send a couple. I know Logan County is sending 1, Boone County is sending 1, and I'm here today to ask if Lincoln County can send a person. The person I'm sort of proposing for Lincoln County is Mr. Gaypart. He's of course, our newly elected prosecutor down here. He's a member of the drug court team, has been involved with the drug court since he was elected, and was tangentially involved before. But there's a lot of things about drug court. I learn something every time I go, and they set up different tracks. They've got tracks for judges, they've got tracks for police officers, tracks for prosecutors, tracks for defense lawyers, tracks for therapists, tracks for probation officers.
Like 18 different tracks.
18 different,
From urban to rural to actually tribal.
Tribal. They even have a tribal drug court. So what I'm asking for today, if the Lincoln County could chip in and see if they could fund a trip to that. Approximate costs, we've been approximating about $3,000. That might be a little bit on the high side, but
with the hotel situation, it's being held at the National Harbor Gaylord again in Washington, D.C. They got the government rate at the Gaylord, however the Gaylord has now filled up. There's approximately 4,000 to 5,000 people attend this conference every year from all across the country and across the world, really. So I think what we're seeing in some of the other hotels, their prices are a little higher than the Gaylord's government rate. So we're probably $2,500 to $3,000. When you look at the hotel, the $650 to $700 registration plus meals and travel.
And also I'm here, I know that y'all's been a good friend of drug courts, helped fund it. I'm here if you got any questions about it.
I've prepared a kind of a community corrections report for you.
Okay. Mr. McCann brought it. Maybe you could let us know, let the community know what you do as far as the drug court.
Okay. We've been running a drug court here for about 3 years. Drug court is for people who commit crimes and have a drug addiction, which is probably about 95% of the people who commit crimes in Lincoln County. What we do, prosecutor makes a decision of whether or not a person is an appropriate candidate for drug court. We evaluate them, do some psychological testing, and then take them into drug court. Drug court is basically a 5-day-a-week involvement on the participants. They're at our Day Report Center, especially when they first start out, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. There's also some involvement on the weekends, such as special community service projects, special drug testing. They start out drug screening probably 2 to 3 times a week, sometimes more. Minimum of 3. And during the course of the week, they're going to go to counseling. They're going to go to classes. They're going to go, if they have we've got 2 or 3 people involved in college right now. If they don't have their high school diploma, they go to GED classes. We also make a requirement to work. They also do a lot of community service. I'm guessing you've got community service on that handout.
Between the 2 counties, we did think it was $135,000 work based on federal minimum wage in 2012 in community service. That doesn't include what you pay in benefits, of course.
And it's basically, it's broke down into 3 parts. There's what's called phase 1. Phase 1, we focus on getting the people clean. And that, sometimes we can do it right off the start, and there's people that's still in phase 1 that's been in the program for a year. And it's where it's just a struggle. After they meet the requirements of phase 1, they move up to phase 2. Phase 2, we move more of changing their lives, such as, that's when we want them to start working or looking for employment or bettering their education. Plus, we're also maintaining the drug screens, we're also maintaining the counseling, we're also maintaining the community service. When they get to phase 3, that's where it's more of like letting go of them, for lack of a better term, where we're wanting them to get back. We don't have them come in quite as much for the counseling, not quite as much for the classes. They're still here every week, and they're still subject to drug screens every day. They're still subject to random home visits. Saturday drug screens they're not really let go, but we're trying to push them out of the nest, for lack of a better term. And once they get through phase 3, we then move them on to graduation. We've had, I forget the numbers, but I've got 2 people here who probably know the numbers pretty well. How many graduates have we had between the 2 counties?
25.
What? 25 graduates. We do both Boone and Lincoln.
Like 125 referrals since the program started.
You know, one of the things, having dealt with this problem from the physician end of it, and before the drug courts were set up and things like that, you know, look at what could be done to make it better, and it's proof in the pudding with what you guys do. I mean, I've actually had people that's went through your drug court, the patients a lot, that come to me and say, and the one, I said, is there anything, and I usually try to, is there anything that you think would help the program, you know, would help? And at the time, this has been a few years ago, they said, we need drug screen more. We need to drug screen the people in the program more. So, and you can almost see that they're scared they're going to relapse. You know, they're scared they're going to, you know, that type thing. But I think the way you're doing it is entirely the correct, chronologically it should be done. You know, they have to be. But I've really been impressed, having dealt with one person in particular who failed, continued to fail, continued to go back, but he actually is working now and really sings your guys' praise, you know, and that's something that when you save one of them, you save the court system so much money in the long run, save the community so much more money in the long run. Plus you've established somebody that's going to have a healthy, hopefully productive life, and that's something that you really can't measure in terms of dollars, I don't think, but I mean, to me, it's one of the best things we see here, and it's, you know, it's going to require even more of you guys with the epidemic that we have with prescription medications and things like that. But you know, it's something that's the right way to go. I mean, and I'm saying from a physician's end, that's the right way to go, the way you're doing it. Well, it's really hard to just penalize people and put them away, and because you let them back out, they do the same thing over again. It's a matter of training, matter of educating, matter of all those things.
If I put a drug addict in prison, first thing they're going to do when they get out of prison is go back and use again. Now, I'm not saying there's people who need to be in prison, there's people who need to stay in prison. But these drug addicts are generally they're committing felonies, but they're generally your breaking and enterings and your grand larcenies, and they're going to get out. They're coming back to us at some point. And if we don't fix them, it's going to continue to be a problem. And financially, it's a huge success. I think some of the numbers we're looking at, it costs between like $5,000 to $7,000 a year to keep somebody in drug court. You put them in the penitentiary, you're looking probably 25 or 30. One thing I'm real proud of is between the 2 counties, and this is probably saving probably $1 million a baby. We've had 4 babies born to drug court participants that were completely clean and went home the day after they were born. Or they were born to, they were being born to addicted mothers who otherwise would have been using. The babies' lives would have been horrible from the start, and probably would have cost us as taxpayers $500,000 to $1 million a baby.
Yeah, it's tremendous. I mean, it is the right direction. I think you guys are, you know, you're underfunded. I mean, you know, I think, you know, we can do always what we do now. We can do better if we had more. We
do operate on a shoestring, but we make good use of that shoestring. We try to stretch the dollar as far as we possibly can.
Along that same line, I'll go ahead and entertain a motion for $3,000 for Mr. Dave Bartu. go to the drug court.
I moved it.
So it's an all yes vote.
Thank you.
And I just, but when this issue first came up, I don't know how long it's been, 3 years ago, 4 years ago.
2009.
2009.
I guess sitting there listening to the judge here, I thought, well, is he on a dream? He thinks he can do something to these drug people? So then when we had that first graduation here, I was convinced then this is the way to do it.
And we're getting better at it.
I just appreciate your involvement in it, Jerry and everybody else.
We
Without
are.
somebody doing it, this doesn't happen.
We're getting better at it. I want to give a shout out to Jerry. Might have been my idea. Jerry's the one that made my idea work. We also had Matt Beckett here today. He's now our drug court probation officer. He took somebody's place who left me.
I don't know.
That's how you recruited. We didn't count hers.
But, and you see it in their lives. And even the people who don't graduate from the program, we make a difference. I mean, they might end up going to penitentiary and finishing out their time, but I've had several come back to me and says, I learned something, sitting in a jail cell for a year and a half made me think, yeah, y'all were on the right track, and some of them may even make changes. And so just because they don't graduate doesn't necessarily we're not making an impact.
I want to make one comment here. This is probably not the appropriate place to do it, but I had the opportunity at one time to evaluate our judge as far as whether the governor would appoint him or not. And one of the things I noticed first off the bat was how he cared about people, how he cared about his kids, how he cared about other people. And this is just a testimony to that, I think. I think it makes me feel good because I know you made the right decision. So, but we really appreciate what you've done, Judge. We really do. And we do you too. We really do. You guys have made a difference.
Thank you very much. Let's go back to Matt.